The reality is actually very different, because one of the jobs that I did for an analysis of how the different regions were performing in Ireland, I did an analysis to look where the state money, capital investment went, where all the social welfare transfers went, and where the wealth of the country was being generated. And Dublin was head and shoulders above everywhere as the wealth generator of the country, and it cross-subsidized all the rest of the country. Politically, that, if you raise that with the people outside of Dublin in the West, as one of the guys from the research institutes did, they listened to the guy and they just changed the subject because it doesn't fit with the mindset of Dublin grabs everything and we lose out. Because in fact the reality is exactly the opposite. So, but can I just get back to your point? The NSS is pretty general, so it creates flexibility within the next level down. So although it is top down, there is, because of the generalities and all this stuff, there's a level of flexibility to enable different things to happen. But the NSS, another key thing about the National Spatial Strategy, the NSS, is what's called gateways and hubs. These are the hierarchy of urban places. The gateways would be like Dublin, Cork, Limerick, Galway, Waterford, the gateway, the top ones. Then we have what's called hubs, which are the next level down. And one of the maps which I had in the presentation, which got corrupted this morning, would show you where all gateways and hubs are. But now, essentially, the framework of gateways and hubs is the spatial framework for the National Development Plan, which is how you spend all the capital money. So, there's a preference for gateways before hubs, before anything else. And it's called the RDA, the Irish Development Association, which is it's a government thing, which is responsible for getting foreign investment into Ireland. They prioritise gateways and hubs. Foreigners come to the gateway, or maybe come to the hub rather than anywhere else. So the NSS is the spatial framework for the allocation, broadly, the allocation of state resources, and the framework for activities of economic agents of the state, like the IDA, as well as I mentioned. So that's a kind of very broad framework. Now, another concept.
Yeah, sorry. In comparison to this country, what would be the gateways and what would be the hubs? Would it be, for example, Johannesburg? Would that be a gateway?
Oh yeah.
All right.
I think here it would be probably the Gauteng, the reef area, Durban, Cape Town, Port Elizabeth, probably.
Okay.
I don't know, East London's a bit, I don't know, but and then there would be, the hubs might be, Pietermaritzburg would be a hub. Actually, in this province there's nothing there, so that's about it, isn't it? Oh, Richards Bay.
Richards Bay.
Sorry, Richards Bay would probably be seen as a hub. And then there's hierarchies that go down to like little villages.
And Bruce, the reason for identifying it in that kind of way and also allocating the development and encouraging the investment into it, because of their own impetus to grow and make use of that investment, because of the demand for the outsiders to go to those places, and that's reinforced. Or is it part of, whereas if you're talking about balance, you might try to encourage investment into other places. So it looks as though this kind of response to these kind of gateways and hubs is more kind of reinforcing the kind of trend and demand, rather than trying to allocate it to achieve a particular planning endpoint. Or is it trying to find its way between those two?
It's sort of trying to find its way between. There's a recognition that there's a reality out there. You know, I mean, you're not going to create another Cork in. So the first little place that came to my mind is called Durban.
Spread is not to be overly idealistic, but to make use of existing strengths and reinforce it up to a point.
Yeah. Now, if I just finish the concept of balanced regional development. So there's Dublin, there's the rest, and then in a more local level there's Cork and its big catchment, as it were. And it's to try and get levels of balance right down through the system. Now, a concept which is not properly understood by the political people particularly, but even some of the planners, is the concept of balanced regional development has the idea in it that you actually exploit whatever strengths and opportunities any area's got, even a little village or some rural area out there. So, but from a political point of view, quite often it's, oh, you know, we haven't got development here, you know, this is not balanced. But the word is more balanced. It's not balanced. You'll never, ever, in 1,000 years, get another Dublin somewhere else, you know, just never, ever going to happen.
It can't be restructured to that degree.
No, absolutely not. But the political way things are presented from the people like outside of Dublin or outside of Cork in relation to Cork is, you know, we've been hard done by, it's not balanced development, there's things happening in Dublin or Cork or, you know, they're not happening in my town, you know. But actually the concept is more balanced, so it's to try and shape things to be a little bit better than they would otherwise be. And the second part of the concept would be that if an area's got a potential for local tourism or for farming, how do you get that to work better, even if in the big picture it's minor, but it's to get that area to work. So those are two dimensions to the concept of no balance.
As you said earlier, Bruce, in many ways, those kind of concepts are not that foreign here, you know, with our kind of attempt to get a kind of a spread, but really use the basis of what's been going on here. Once you have that, there's the kind of sort of feeling that you've got to give everybody a little bit of something, regardless of whether they've really got potential. Well, let me take an extreme. If you've got a little settlement, whether it be a village of 1,000 people or 500 people, that has actually little gain for it, is there an attempt to still do something with it, or to just recognize that you keep it going, but you really just, rather than spread a little bit thinly over everything and don't achieve any levels of support systems, does that play a role in that kind of understanding, or is there always this kind of political attempt to try and spread your money as wide and as thinly as possible at the risk that you actually get nothing substantial anywhere?
That's absolutely, from the political dimension, that's a strong impetus. Spread it. You know, equality, there's a strong equality kind of feeling. You can be completely isolated in your house somewhere, and it's your right to have electricity and water and all the schools nearby and the hospital not too far away. You know, there's a whole strong undercurrent feeling of that, which again, underlying societal values play themselves out into planning. You know, like a real mirror of the underlying values in the society. And so, yeah, there's a very strong pressure. The professional planners say you can't have that. It's too costly, it doesn't work, it's impractical, you know, that's the professional planners. But the political classes would want that kind of much greater spread.